Gen Z, they come into a world where, there are no rules. All rules have changed. The idea of work has changed. The idea of money has changed. The idea of age has changed. There are 19-year-old billionaires. The idea of relationships have changed. The idea of what is true and what is false has changed. The idea of expertise has changed. The idea of parenting has changed. Here you are world in a liquid world, where everything is changed. What do you hang on to? What are the certitudes in your life? And you are exposed to everything at a phenomenally early age. And on top of that, everybody is a broadcaster. You're not just receiving the world. You have to broadcast yourself. Who are you? You don't know who you are. What do you broadcast? Right. And on a daily basis, you have to find a new version for yourself that is appealing, because there are people judging you on a daily, hourly basis. I mean, actually, you think about it, it's a terrifying situation. Yes, you have loads of opportunities. Yes, you have great exposure. A lot of you have been born in circumstances better than your parents. You have a relative sense of abundance. You have all of that. You have things easy. And yet, you have absolutely no clue who you are, who you want to be, how you're going to be judged, what is work, what you don't know anything. Nothing is, and so you have to invent everything. This is a generation that needs to invent concepts before living them. The idea of identity you have to invent before having an identity. What is identity in today's age, right? What is a good career in today's age? I knew what a good career was. Everybody knew what a good career was. Whether you could get it or I knew that doing an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad was very good. I knew that doing arts in my college was very bad. Particularly if you're studying in a place like Baroda. I knew that, right? It was not a mystery to me. Today, you can drop out of Harvard, and that may be the best decision you've taken in your life. And your benchmarks, nothing you do is good enough, because at 19, somebody has already made, $20 billion. And look at relationships, There was a time when the relationship in my time was कि वो लड़की मेरी वाली है, मेरे को खिड़की से शायद देखती है. That person may not know that I'm alive. Today, it's like you're a situationship and it is so incredibly complex. And that's why you find when young people in relationships speak to each other, they are their co-therapists more than they are actually partners or anything else. They actually speak in therapy. This is toxic. This is a red flag. You look at the language around relationship today. It is a language of therapy. And therefore, when it comes to workplace, which is why we hear most of these kind of snotty comments about a generation that doesn't want to work or is not committed or is very flighty. And it's from a certain frame, that is true. Those characterizations make sense if you look at it from a certain other frame. But from a certain other frame, what they are exposing are the lies and the hypocrisies that are present in our working culture. If I was to look at how organizations treat human beings, it is such a blatantly exploitative. This idea of the white collar and the manager is such a fabulous invention. We are workers, we are labor, but we have imagined ourselves to be something much more. We still get paid, we still don't own anything, we still can be fired at will. Just because we have an office and we have a laptop does not make us anything more than labor. Your multinational company can suffer a reverse in Venezuela, and 20% of the workforce is fired in India. You have nothing to do with that. You have nothing. You have no relationship to, you're doing your job fabulously, and that's the way it is. So I'm just saying that the hypocrisies in life, I think I'm getting exposed because of the fact that they have to invent things, so they look at it with new eyes and saying, hello, this is work too. It's a contract. So what do you mean I have to work longer? If I have to work longer, pay me for that. You're not going to pay me once month more because I have a need. And you say, look, this month I have a need. Can you pay me 20% more? Are you going to pay me that? So then how do you expect me to work 20% more because you have a need? It's a perfectly legitimate question. And yet, it's not as if it knows the answers. So it's not as if it is, it is coming at you with saying, I know the answer and I want to reform. I don't know the answer. I'm also finding out. But I do think that there is a generation that is trying to come to terms with a completely new world. They are doing as well as they can. Yes, they are struggling. Other generations, I think, should learn from what they are going through rather than sit and pass judgment.